All right, Shalom Israel, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rakakadash Barakatah Yahweh Barakatah Yahushai. Double honors to the apostle, elder bishops, great millstone. My salutation to the brothers teaching word for the hopeful elect, soon to be the elect most high will. To hopefully extend elect Shalom blessings. Just getting right into it, man. The definition of a prophet, the word of the day. I'm going to get as prophet. You know, there's a lot of prophecy coming into play that have happened. I'll get the definition. I'll get a scripture, example of a scripture definition. And, you know, we're waiting for these last prophecies to play out because we're at the end. Everything simultaneously, you know, is happening. Everything is happening simultaneously. The World War III, you know, Jacob's trouble, the high digital technology leading into the New World Order, which is going to be controlled with the sea help. Nations hating America like it's prophesied in the scriptures. You know, people getting edgy, on edge, zombie, the apocalypse, like, you know, people, you know, AI, a lot of people confused, disregarding the care for their government, their political leaders, like it's prophesied in the scriptures. And we've gone over these prophecies, and Jake can't deny that they're true. Give an example of Exodus 7:1. It says, "And the Lord said unto Moses, See, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet." Once again, the Jewish people call themselves Jews, not synagogue of Satan. They don't fit any of these, any of the curses, any of the characters of the Bible regarding the holy man. They do play a part in the Bible called Edom. So, you know, I know what they depict when they show Aaron, Moses, when they show prophets. They all look like them, but that's part of the covering cast, his lies, deceit. So it says, I'm going to get the word prophet, Nabawa.
Strong's H 5030. Navi. Navi.
Navi, you know, the V is really a ba. We talking Paleo Hebrew, and you know, this is Syrian Hebrew, but it's, you know, the characters pretty much match up. It just looks a little different, you know. But Nabawa, Nabaya, Salaki, Nabaya. A spokesman, speaker, prophet, false prophet. There's such thing as false prophet. Heathen prophet. There's a such thing as heathen prophet. Let me see what Google says the definition of a false prophet is. False prophet, and you really go into that word. Pro is before, and psi is to say before, say before things are coming into play, before they actually happen. So, you know, these prophecies speak from the beginning of the world, from the beginning of the ancient days. You know, when holy men spake by the Spirit of the Most High, prophesying the downfall of Babylon, prophesying down of Persian and Medes, prophesying down, you know, in those different regional places, all the way to this last Rome, because this is a such thing as reincarnation. That's another factor that if you're not teaching according to the lines of what a prophet should be teaching and will teach, is teaching, then you're a false prophet. So you have to, you have to go into history. You got to go into what the MOTB is. You got to go into what state of man is and what's coming to man and what's coming up on the earth and what's prophesied of earth and things to happen upon it. It says a false prophet is a person who falsely claims to speak on behalf of a deity, divine inspiration, or spiritual truth. Historically rooted in religious texts, the term describes individuals who deceive followers for personal gain. Yeah, that's one key element to being a false prophet, or recognizing a false prophet for personal gain, for money, for fame, crowd of people, for likes, views, and all that, for the love of people. It says, men are going to trim their ways for love, to reach greater status in society, great status with money and all that. It says promote conflicting doctrines. And a lot of people think we're false prophets because we teach about, these, that we teach on the lines of racism, so to speak, or how the Most High, deals with nations and different nations of people on the earth, and other nations he don't deal with. He only deals with really one nation, and we even talk about the elect out of that one nation that he loves and deals with. And it tells you that in Amos 3 and 1, 5 and 1, I think. So we're not lying. We're not going against the scriptures. We're actually telling you exactly what's in the scriptures. Now, as far as the dark sayings and parables, that has to be given to somebody. Somebody has to have the answer and the solutions. And then we're at the end of the world. So when people are concerned about the end of the world and concerned about things that affect them personally, like the economy, where it's overwhelming and it doesn't go back to how they, had what they seem it always does, then they want answers, and then they kind of fall on, it leads them to wonder about biblical scripts and all that, because they know and they have heard, whether it was, from talk around, in society, their friends or their church, everybody know about the return of the Son of God. They know about that he died on the cross. They know that certain things, that the biblical things were going to take place, plagues and all that. They know about that. So when they, when it's overwhelming for them and it affects them personally, they be like, well, I have to find out about this, what's going on. And they usually it leads them to a church figure, and but the churches are being exposed, so they're gonna be like, well, what's the next thing? And they say, well, what about these Hebrew Israelite guys? And so the mockery comes with that, scoffing comes with that. It's gonna happen. But truth is truth, and the elements are real, and the world is real that we live in, and the prophecies are real. It says, or make inaccurate predictions, inaccurate predictions. So we prophecy has come to pass, and things that the apostles, elder bishops were prophesying about it's happening. It has happened, some of them, and it is happening. We didn't put the bricks together. We didn't, concerning Russia and all that. We didn't give America and all these other nations, countries, nuclear capability, where it speaks about that in the scriptures. We're just men. We're just messengers. We don't have no might but the Most High. So all this carnal stuff belongs to them. All this carnal stuff they could deal with. They can, conjure up and manipulate. Used to manipulate people, but the effects of that is wearing off. The spells of witchcraft and is wearing off. So that's another prophecy. And then the least of the flocks. So, bring them out. That's a prophecy. That's happening. All these chess pieces are in position exactly where they're supposed to be according to prophecy. And I don't know if people are into prophecy. It says be occupied in prophecy. Yeah, they're into prophecy, and they're into biblical texts and biblical uh, knowledge, you know, and finding out solutions according to, what's in the Bible, according to living in the spirit of what that Bible presents when it's according to truth, then they would, try to be like, well, yeah, you know, logically make sense out of all this. But some men it hasn't been given to know or understand. Religious traditions, particularly Christianity and Judaism, warn against false prophets using several criteria. Yeah, it's false prophets coming from the actual churches around America that people thought were, really the way to go. They thought that was the straight gate, but it's not. They're finding out the churches are false. Their teachings, and the true church is in the mind and body of men, so to speak, in the spirit, basically. So you're not going to see a building or a particular location of the mega church that to go to be saved. It really is in them chariots, if you want to be honest. But Ecclesiastes, it goes back to calling out. The churches, men on the highways and byways calling out for the elect, because we tell you about the elect all the time, and it mentions elect all through the scriptures. I don't understand why they don't teach that there's an elect. It's all written in the scriptures. It's according to the elect, he became poor for the elect's sake. The world was made for the elect's sake. My 7,000 men that wouldn't bow down to Baal. A small remnant. I don't get these. So put two and two together, man. Like, and it, like it says, they're going to have a court of personality. It's going to be for personal gain, promoting conflictual doctrines, make inaccurate predictions, and it's usually making predictions for their own personal gain, inaccurate predictions according to their personal gain. Like that dude that went out, that African dude that went out and said about the rapture, and they were disappointed. A lot of them lost their religious passion, whatever, and now they went back into the world to, tried another religion or whatever. You're not supposed to be jumping to and fro, But yeah, that was for his personal gain. He's not concerned about those people, because that's why we say the hopeful elect. We don't know the day, and it said no man know the day and the time. So we don't prophesy against the scripture, against the Most High. We don't go above the Most High, and for any personal gain, to where the prophecies fit us, the scriptures fit us. No, we just know that is the time is winding short, like it says in the scriptures. We know that it's soon to come about the end, like it says in the scriptures. Nothing that we say is not in the scriptures. The dark sayings and parables and the mysteries that's given it to the saints, well, you just have to know the Spirit is dealing with you to open up your eyes to see, because it's clear to us. Such thing as like Babylon, as America's Babylon, it's clear to us. And some even scientists and scholars say that. So anyway, yeah, hope you guys have fun till next video. Shalom.